Hello, everyone. Deborah Neal Baker here with another serious business conversation. And the one that I'm having now is one that I've been really looking forward to because these two people have me so curious from day one when I heard their company, their name. When I heard Destroy the Hairdresser, I was like, what? And so I'm very excited to have them with us today. And so I would like to bring Charisse and David Bossher. Thank you, you
Hello.
too. Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
We're excited to
So,
be here.
well, we're very excited to have you. And, I love your, back in the day, it wasn't called disruptive energy. It was called like being a rebel, which I was always a rebel. So I really have always
We're
been
the punk rock coaching company.
so interested. And I guess I want to start with the thing that got my attention back in the day. Destroy the hairdresser. What does that mean?
Oh my goodness. So I love this is my favorite topic. David knows to talk about this, but I think one of the things that we are really trying to do with Destroy the Hairdresser is destroy harmful belief systems. So our goal is to teach you to salon differently. And so we're really focused on rebuilding your business using consciousness, critical thinking skills, and emotional intelligence. So it's actually a very elevated way to do business coaching. We don't talk about numbers. We don't tackle benchmarks, and we really focus on elevating the individual, whether they're a leader or behind the chair, to really not only charging their worth, but being confident in what they're doing and really returning our industry back to being a craft hairdresser.
I think to add to that, we really were focusing a lot on numbers when we were being coached in the industry. And what we found is that what drives numbers is emotions. And so when you can help people find fulfillment, feel happier, create systems that enforce more emotional intelligence in a business, you find that those benchmarks actually kind of just meet themselves when you have happy clients and you have happy staff members. It's hard to find that balance in our industry. Our industry is really creative and at the same time very confused at how to find fulfillment and happiness behind the chair, yet it's the happiest thing we've ever done. And so I think that it's, when we started Destroy the Hairdresser, it was, let's not do it how other companies have done it. Not that those ways are wrong, but let's do it in a way that maybe a hairdresser and an emotional individual may benefit. So we really focused on the emotions behind business, and we've had great success with opening salons with no debt, helping salons that are struggling with, not making enough money. We've increased their revenue over 50 to 70% within 9 months. We've just had really great results without focusing on numbers and really just focusing on how an individual wants to feel when they show up and is their career getting them there. So Destroy the Hairdresser was kind of born, like Cyd said, out of destroying those old ways of doing things, which I know that, like you said, we call it disrupting, but it's a rebellious approach to business.
Yeah, it's really, and my late husband, Edwin Neal, would absolutely have loved the two of you because one of his mantras was question everything.
Yeah.
We were taught that at a very young age. We've had coaches our whole life. We had life and business and spiritual coaches in our early 20s when you wouldn't normally seek out that kind of support and mentorship. And so I really think that helped shape what our company became. And I think, that was the thing. It was like we've always been taught question everything, look deeper. There's always an illusion in front of you and what's beyond it.
Well, I instead of really focusing too much on this past year, which everyone I'm really sick of talking about the past year.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, it was rough, but the one thing I do want to ask about this past year and your participation and engagement with hairdressers and salon owners, was there anything that really surprised you
I mean, I would say Sid and I, when this first started, Sid and I called each other and we said, luckily our business has zero overhead. And we're like, okay, so this might be the end of Destroy the Hairdresser for right now. We made the assumption that maybe coaching hairdressers wasn't going to be popular or affordable, and we were quite wrong. It was the complete opposite. Everyone was then looking for business advice and guidance, and at the time we were giving as much free education as possible. I wouldn't say we were giving any more than usual. I think it was just people were listening now. People were at home.
People had time.
Yeah, and I think our business has grown so much after coming a little bit further out of the pandemic, because I think the biggest surprise that I've had is how seriously people are taking their business now.
Yeah, I think too, what was so amazing is, we only lost maybe 20% of the current students in our program back in March of 2020. And we had over 80% of that 20% loss come back. And that was incredible because it really showed that it was kind of a reactive moment of like, let's pause this initial investment. But also, I can't do this without this investment. This is worth continuing to spend our money on. And I think what was so powerful was we had salons hit their $1 million marker, even open up their first locations, their second locations. They were able to hire all during the global pandemic that everybody said our industry was going to go under because of, and that wasn't the case for our students.
Yeah, and in fact, right now, it looks like salon business is booming. Is that your
there's
experience?
something
Always is in a recession. Vanity.
Yeah, there's something called the beauty boom. People spend a lot of money on cosmetic surgeries, injectables, hair, tattoo, eyebrow, like microblading. Like everyone spends more money on their appearance, and because of like right now we're on Skype, because of Zoom and Skype and Instagram, where your face is always being shown, all of a sudden putting work and effort into your appearance has become even more important. And it's not going to become less important. And so that's why I think, when we talk to hairdressers, we're really valuable right now. And I think we were always valuable, but I think it's very recognizable to the community of clients, how valuable their hairdresser really is. And so what I think was the most shocking from the pandemic was how well our salons did because of what they were learning already. It really helped them navigate the tumultuous uncertainty that was the pandemic, that was 2020.
Yeah, well, especially if you're coaching people around critical thinking and emotional intelligence, because God only knows that's what we needed this past year.
Right.
And it kind of forced.
We really focused on using this past year to be like, rather than focusing on what everyone was feeling, how can we really use this time to be more productive, to be more proactive? And I think David and I decided to do that as a company. We were like, people are here to listen. People are looking on Instagram. Our students are on Instagram. Our clients are on Instagram. Our future students are on Instagram. Let's start using all of these social platforms to just educate and do what we really truly love doing the most. And let's help everybody, whether they're in our program or not. And I think that's what made our company really take off, because people were there to listen. And not only that, clients were listening. So clients were paying hairstylists to teach them how to cut their own hair over Zoom. It was a really powerful time. And when we even reflect on the 2008 recession, people still wanted to feel good. And we have to stop assuming what people want to spend their money on, even if it's their last dollar. And a lot of times it is on feeling good physically. And so that's where we shine.
Well, I completely support that, and actually always have, because even though I'm not a hairdresser, I have a lot of hairdresser characteristics and thinking, and I'm an empath, like most of the creatives in our industry are. So I want to jump right into some of the things that that you are advocating for, because I know that they are very controversial or whatever, and so much of it completely resonated with me, because some of the things that you're advocating for, when we opened a little salon in Hammond, Louisiana, 30 years ago, and we did that because Horst would tell us, we were developing all these educational programs for salons, and he said, what do you know about being a salon owner? He said, it's great you're offering all this, but you don't have the real experience. So we decided to have this little salon in Hammond, and we used it as a laboratory. And some of the things that you're advocating for, some of the things that we did 30 years ago that were highly controversial. No tipping. We had hairdressers actually stop and have lunch.
Imagine.
Which is what a
We were
human
specialized,
basic need
right?
that we have to fight for that.
Yeah, we specialized, which back then was not something that people were doing. So let's jump right into some of these things that you are encouraging people to reconsider.
Which one would you like to jump in first?
I don't know. We could start with the most controversial, and that is probably no tipping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We love that. Well, I mean, I think a big thing, and it falls under the umbrella of what Destroy the Hairdresser is really fighting for, is that commission salons are just a pay structure. It's not the way things were. And people get really worked up when we're like, yes, you should have a commission salon, because they've been in very toxic commission salons for the following reasons that we're about to talk about. And one of them is the whole idea around tipping. And we are big advocates of removing tipping and then building it into your price point and charging per time versus per service.
I think the biggest thing to help people start with is the root of tipping is really rooted in racism and sexism. It does come from a performance-based pay structure. Women would have to perform a certain way to receive more money, and people of color also had to become more white in order to receive a certain amount of money. And removing, tipping was actually started so that business owners could pay white employees and black employees less but the same, and then the white community would take care of the white community, and the black community would be left with less money. And so that's its origins. That's not we always mention, like, we know that tipping is not from that anymore, but it is important to know where it comes from, and it still is based in performance, and there is a lot of racism and sexism around it. Men make more tips than women. White people make more tips than people of color. So we can say it's not racist anymore, but unfortunately, and it's not sexist anymore, but unfortunately it still is. And so to remove those two aspects and to also not rely on tips, I think when people hear remove tips, obviously we say things a really aggressive way for marketing purposes, but it's really not to rely on tips. We want people to make a great annual salary. And the biggest complaint that we get from hairdressers about removing tipping is, well, especially in a commission salon, is, well, if I add it to the price, which is fine, my employer is going to take, a commission of my tips. The answer is yes, they are. But the difference is your income is going to go up, because there are studies done that people that rely on tips actually make less. And if you look at the average, make less every year. And if you look at the average income of a hairdresser in the United States, it's less than $21,000 a year. It's around that. And the reason that is not because that number is actually not true.
Right.
It's because that's what's claimed.
They're not reporting their tips.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that might feel good when you're young and you're trying to pocket all your money. But have you ever tried to buy a house with an annual salary of $20,000? Have you ever tried to buy a car?
There's also no real way to budget or to prepare or to even, when someone says, how much money do you make? And you're like, oh, $21,000, but like, that's not including tips. That's not going to do anything for you. And I think one thing that we're trying to teach our students is how to do business more proactively and really build different streams of revenue and really put yourself in that economic bracket that you want to reach, because there's nothing wrong with reporting 6 figures, 7 figures on your taxes. And yes, you might have to pay more in taxes, but you're getting that money, you're still making that money, you're still showing that you are worth this income, which then you can invest in properties that are going to bring you more wealth, or invest in businesses or even people that you want to invest in to bring in more wealth and revenue for you.
Well, I don't know about
But
your experience, but my experience with even like the elder hairdressers that I've known for, whether it's Eric Fisher or Sam Bricata or Van Council, I mean, over the years, I mean, really, they generated a lot of revenue with how they invested the money that they made, and it was through maybe real estate and other ventures. So I think it's really refreshing to hear. This is going to make me sound really old. Your generation talking like this,
Well, I think it's scary. From the stock market is a little bit scary for millennials. It doesn't seem safe anymore, but millennials are really interested in investing, Bitcoin, property, things like that. So I think what we're going to see is a lot of millennials pulling out of the stock market, if they're even in there, and really investing in things they can see. They invest in relationships they have, and in the community that they're part of. And I think Generation Z, which is after millennial, they're going to be that way even more. So I think we're going to see a shift in the way that money is earned and spent and invested in the next 10 years, maybe even 5 years. And so what we
People
try
are
to
really
get
investing
hairdressers,
into small businesses, and I think that's the difference. Is big corporations have always taught you that you have to invest your money into big stocks and big businesses. And our millennials and Gen Zs are like, no, I want to invest in my friend who has this great idea and I believe in it, and I'm willing to take that risk to build that profit for both of us.
so it's a little bit more of a micro economy that people have access to, and it's easier to invest in microeconomic things. It's easier to invest in a local restaurant. It's easier to invest in a startup company that's in your area, and people want to be part of those processes. And so what we help hairdressers understand is that, yes, you have a career that generates money, but you also have to learn how to take that money and then grow it. How do I take $10 and make it $1,000? And how do I take $1,000 and make it $1,000,000? And it's not going to come always from working behind the chair owning a salon. You have to have a money generator, and then you have to find ways to invest that. And I think that's what our coaching offers people is we're not necessarily telling them how to invest their money, but we're teaching them and opening their minds to the ideas of, oh, it's not just go invest in the stock market, which I have no idea how that works, right? Or it's not just to put it in a retirement fund, which I have a hard time doing because I feel so young that it just feels like a waste of money to me. So now we're kind of opening their mind to bigger things, again, kind of boiling it down to those critical thinking skills. But yes, to kind of wrap it all up, as much as you think tipping is helping you, it's really hurting you. As much as you think you're making a lot more, you're only just making more in your hand, but you're not actually making more in the end of the year. And so those hairdressers that really critically think about the no tipping, whether you're a renter, whether you work at a commissioned salon, it does benefit everyone if you are willing to look at it from a bird's eye view. If you're only looking at it on the day to day, yes, it's going to feel like you're making less money. But if you look at it from a bird's eye view, you're making a lot more money each year.
So what kind of
I think when you're focused on very, day to day, you're with your blinders on. And I think it's really important to think big picture always. Like, how can I make more? How can I bring in more? And I think something I talk about a lot in our clubhouses is we were an artist-based industry and we shifted into a service-based industry, and service-based industries live off of tips. Yeah, we're the only service-based industry that pays over $20,000 to go to school. We are paying our quarterly taxes. We are investing anywhere up to $10,000 with outfits, tools, education, yet we're not getting bonuses, we're not getting raises, and we have no benefit. So we have to start to shift into a different way of thinking if we want our industry to be taken seriously.
Yeah. Well, and just for the audience, I mean, I know that anyone who's really passionate about what they believe, as you are, I always still have to remind myself that there's not one right answer. There's not one right answer,
Absolutely.
but you keep your mind open to all the possibilities. And,
Yeah.
because a lot of people, I mean, look, we were a no tipping salon for 10 years. And then we had a couple of hairdressers that seasoned hairdressers, experienced hairdressers that wanted to come to work for us. And we were paying hairdressers a salary then. This was 30 years ago. But we could not figure out how we could justify and afford to have these hairdressers come. So how are people navigating this that are trying this now with y'all's support?
I think the solution is commission salons. We actually at Destroy the Hairdresser believe that commission salons are the future, which everyone will disagree with us, and so will trends currently. The trend right now is to become a renter and to work for yourself. But if, again, critical thinking, if you just do the math, it's way more work, way more taxes. It's money up front. It is not more money at the end of the year. And a lot of what we're seeing is a lot of these people are going to rental and then they call us because it's too much. And then they kind of realize I need to find, I really want to work in a commission salon, but they won't give me freedom and they won't let me choose my schedule and they won't let me choose my pricing. And so the solution is, I don't know where it came to be that if you were a commission salon, you couldn't have those freedoms. And so we are training commission salons to have the pay structure of commission, and we work with you on what that commission should be. And you should also allow for unlimited vacation days, unlimited sick days, allow them to charge hourly, allow them to charge the hourly price that they want. It's freedom with responsibilities. It's not anarchy. And I think that's what people first think when they hear all that freedom. They're like, my favorite thing is when I hear from salon owners, well, if I give my staff unlimited vacation days, they won't come to work. And my answer to them is usually, well, one, we probably shouldn't hire that person. And two, please don't forget that people do need to make money. And if you hire people that need to make money, unlimited vacation days, unlimited sick days aren't going to be, it's not going to be abused, right? If they're there to make money, they're going to use it when they need it. But at the end of the day, they're going to be there more. And what we have found is that when you give unlimited freedom, the individuals actually take their job more seriously, work more, put in more hours, bring in more clients. It's when you start making sure there's a schedule and there's a tiered system, all these systems, that's when people start
micromanaging,
down.
and that's exhausting.
Yeah, there's a way to do commission that's very, very simple. We've just really overcomplicated it. And you can tell it's an industry thing because every time I tell someone, hey, instead of having a rental salon, you should consider doing commission because you have so many stylists, but you're not really making any money. You're just getting paid a rent check, which I'd rather you go buy a house and rent it than just make a rent check. But when you have a commission salon, everyone's in it together. And yes, that's a hard thing to sell because no one really understands that side of things all the time. However, the response we always get when I say you should switch to commission is, but I don't want to micromanage people. As if I change the pay structure, then I have to change the way I do everything else, which is not true. You're already managing people, whether you're a rental salon or a commission salon. You're always managing people. If you don't want to manage people, you shouldn't own a business. That's what that is. But if you want to make money as a salon owner and you want to help people build their careers, commission salons are really great. It's just that we dismantle them in the way that they used to be.
Yeah, there's so many things that we've done and we still do. And it's not just in our industry, in life. There's things that we just keep doing because we've always done it.
Right.
And but I do
and
think
no one questions everything.
No,
Everyone
I know.
doing it.
Yeah,
and it's insane because when you look at why the trend of booth rental and going out into being an independent has happened, and I get it, there's some people out there that thrive in that environment. They want to be alone. That's fine. If you want to be your own individual business owner, it's perfect, but eventually you're going to cap out. Eventually you're going to have to raise your prices so high to make more money or invest into another person, which is basically a salon. And I think people went into this movement because they wanted to get out of their toxic commission-based salon. So rather than saying I had a toxic leader or this was a very unhealthy atmosphere, they blamed commission salons, and it's just a pay structure. It's just a back end way of doing things. And I think when we really remove that and are like, okay, someone had a bad experience. They went and opened their own salon to not be like their parents, yet they became their parents, created a bad experience for you, and now you're in your own independent suite. It's just this horrible cycle that eventually we have to break.
Yeah,
And like
well,
Cyd said, there's this level of like people go out renting and then they call us and they're like, I want to take my rental business to the next level. Okay, well, you have to hire someone. Well, how do I pay them? Commission.
I bet
So
they're
it just
surprised to hear that response from you, huh?
yeah, I think they are, but then I think some light bulbs go off of like, oh, like I can't do this on my own. I can't grow without employees and without help and without assistance. You only have two hands, and we work in a field that requires hands.
Hasn't
To
this
make more money, you need
hasn't
more
this
hands.
past year also? Uh, I don't know. This is just an observation that I've had. I could be wrong, but it seems like flexibility is now the way you have to do business.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Flexibility is not going away. That's here to stay. But the other thing that I think that people, especially this last year, I think they want a certain amount of stability that they can count on. And
Well, I
you
think
can
that
have
is one
you
of
can
the-
have
Commission
both.
salons were protected.
Yes, yeah. So the commission salon actually should be able to offer the stability and the flexibility.
Yes, exactly. And and we at Destroy the Hairdresser, I feel like that's what we've cracked, is we've figured out how to marry the two. And it's not it's not actually very difficult. It's all the scar tissue that everyone has around what these ideas mean. And really just being like, you can pay someone commission and they can still choose their schedule. You can pay someone commission and they can still charge whatever they want. In fact, I always find it silly when salon owners are like, "Oh, well, we only allow our price point to go up to here." I'm like, "Why would you stop making money? Why wouldn't you let it go up to here and to here?" Well, I can't. I don't charge that much, so no one else can. That doesn't make any sense. Let people charge more and more and more. When you're a commission salon, you make money.
You all are talking to salon owners. You're talking. It sounds like to more salon owners than I assumed you were. Because, I mean, I think some of us, including myself, had an assumption that you were talking mostly to independent hairdressers.
No, I would say 80% of our students are salon owners, and then we have other coaches that work with independents and commission, but the whole goal is to get them up to owning their own
Right.
businesses, because that's the only way we're going to be able to change this industry is, we get emails every day asking us, where can I find a DTH salon? I want to work for a salon owner that is under, your program. And so we're constantly sending stylists to other salons, and they're leaving their suites because of this.
That's
We actually recently today got an email from a student. One of our other coaches has a student who basically the owner told them because they work with us, they can't work for them. And the interesting thing about that is that this person, in my opinion, when you have a hairdresser that's so engaged in the ideas and concepts of business, why would you ever let them go? Why wouldn't you say, what are you learning? Tell me everything.
Yes.
Like, maybe I won't be able to implement everything, but as a salon owner, you should always stay curious. We always say stay curious, don't stay mad, because I think this industry gets really competitive.
Yeah.
And we get really like locked in to like, no, this is how we do it and this is how we make money. And anyone that questions that is, like they can't be around. And when you see that happen, it's really sad. And so this person, is a stylist who's in coaching and is now like, I think I should open a salon because I think I have all the tools to do it. And we don't want people to leave their salon. We want salons to just get to a place where there's strong emotional intelligence skills, great communication. in lots of change and growth. Once you do that, people don't leave. And so I think that the assumption is that we're like just for the hairdresser, we're just for the renter, or we're just for the salon. Everyone thinks we're just for whoever they aren't. Like if a salon owner hears us, they're like, oh, they're just talking to the hairdresser. When hairdressers hear us, they're like, oh, they're talking to salon owners. It's really, do you have the ability to actually hear what we're saying, and then ask yourself, how can I apply what they're saying to my career? What they're saying is a little bit out there. What they're saying is hurting my brain, but how do I actually apply this and ask more questions?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we work with a lot of different people.
Having more hairdressers, like, hear what you're saying would be highly beneficial to the salon owners too.
Absolutely.
And that's what happens,
There's
too,
too many examples of hairdressers that I know that have this resistance to charging what they should be charging. And if you arbitrarily, you try to make them have a price increase, they freak out.
It's insane. It's like, do you not,
Yeah.
but then they want to make more money and they want, and I think something we're teaching is really taking personal responsibility and really leaning into discomfort, because that is the only way to grow not only your business, but yourself and your confidence and your value. And I think, as a salon owner, even, wherever you are in the industry, if you are resistant to change, if you are not going to embrace change, you might as well just bury your business, because that will be the death of it. And, us too, David and I adapt constantly to, change, to anything coming our way. We're always listening to our students, and we're adapting, and we're flowing with what's happening. And even our employees, all of our coaches, they know that we might change things from one day to the next, and we prepared them so well to change that it doesn't even phase them anymore. And I think that is something that we really strive to teach, is when you're consistent, it creates integrity, and then you create respect. And when you're really consistent, even with consistency and change, your business will flow so much better.
I think what's interesting too with what I love about commission is that anyone and everyone can make unlimited amounts of money as long as there's that freedom aspect. And I don't know why we're not utilizing that idea more. Commission means I can make whatever I want. I can charge whatever I want and I get a commission of it. It's just like how brokers make money when they sell a house. Like the difference is that we get to choose the price point, and yet we don't. We either wait for our employer to do it, or we look at the salon next door, what they're doing. And it's like, we're not really held back by a marketplace that much. Yeah, there's a threshold, but if you want to charge a $500, if you want to charge $500 an hour, and you're in a market that will hold it, and you are a salon owner that has a stylist that thinks they can do that, I would encourage it. There's no reason
there people are out there that'll pay that.
Yeah, there's no reason to
Indeed,
set the
there
bar
are.
low.
Yeah. Well, so we talked about the tipping. So what else what are the other controversial things that you've questioned that?
I would say the biggest thing besides that would be the front desk. We don't support having a front desk in the salon. And the reason that we don't support it is
remove your front desk.
We have that philosophy too.
Yeah, I mean,
but you know what? The
thing.
Difference is maybe now people can hear some of these things that they were not able to hear before. Yeah, you're right. The technology has made all the difference. Yeah.
I don't think that what we're teaching is new. I think it's just thinking about it. I think where people are afraid to have the conversation or to question it or to think about it, we're not tied to anyone, so we don't run the risk of hurting someone's feelings or a company not agreeing and then not working with us. Like, we're completely agenda free, and I think that's another reason why hairdressers and salon owners like working with us, is that we're not really tied to anyone. So the advice we're giving you is really just coming from our coaches and our training, and then also just working one-on-one with a hairdresser or a salon owner to make it work for them. as opposed to this is the template, fit into this template. So removing the front desk, one of the biggest success stories I've had with this is I had a salon that was about to go bankrupt, and they called, and they basically said, we need to make an immediate change, and we need about $40,000 extra to like save our business. And the first thing I said was, hire all of your support staff. Did I say hire or fire? Fire all of your
Fire.
fire all of your support staff and remove the front desk. And lo and behold, they were spending
$40,000.
yeah, they were spending over $45,000 a year on the front desk. And not that I'm happy the front desk lost their job, but let's be real, the front desk usually isn't a career choice. It's usually kids in high school or people in college, or it's a way to make money, but it's not a career choice.
Yeah.
And if it is, they should be like a manager.
They should be a manager.
Yeah. So when that happened, all of a sudden they had the money to survive. And then I think what clicked for them was, okay, if this idea works, then let's try their next idea. And they went from having one employee to being a team-based pay salon, which is a whole different structure. Mm-hmm. They went from having one employee to being a fully commissioned salon. Now they have, I think, 17 employees, no front desk. They have all the Destroy the Hairdresser philosophies and freedoms, and they're debt-free, making actual money. And that only took a year, which may sound like a long time, but it's actually to steer a business from bankruptcy, a year is pretty good. So we have a lot of stories
like the biggest
that.
Thing with front desk is that, when you really break it down into where the world is moving technology, like we have computers in our pocket, and it's like, why are we doing things like, why are we still accepting cash? First off, coronavirus, like, did we learn nothing? Second, why are we not doing anything that's truly just touchless, where things are being booked online, credit cards are being taken at booking. If you don't show up, I'm sorry, your card's getting charged. Don't waste my time. We won't waste yours. And then even going down to when we're checking clients out, it's just as simple as hitting a button and letting them walk out. And I think, one of the biggest pushbacks we get about the front desk is, well, who's going to answer the phones? And it's like, well, why do we have a phone to begin with? I don't, as a millennial, and I know Gen Z will agree, I do not want to call a business. If I have to call you, I'm more annoyed. I want to be able to book online. I want it to be easy. I want to be able to reschedule if I can't make it. And I want to just come when it's time for me to show up. And that's the thing that we're missing is, like, we're paying someone to answer a phone when we could just remove the problem of the phone and not have that overhead. And it is we can figure it out. And when people are like, well, my older clients aren't going to figure that out. And I hate to say this, but we shouldn't even as businesses be focusing on millennials. We should solely be focusing on the clientele of the new generations coming up, because that is going to be who's with us long term. And so everyone else just has to either work with us or not, because those are the people that are going to be making money and coming into seeing us.
Well, then that could be a certain, because I know that I think a lot of salons need more younger clientele. And maybe the way to attract that younger clientele is by exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, utilizing technology.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing with, the other day, I had a chiropractor appointment that I booked online and whatever. I actually text and all that to get my appointment. And they called me the other day, and I answered concerned, because my first thought was, why are they calling me? And they were calling to confirm. And I was like, okay, thanks. Like, I was like, I know, like, I got the text, and yeah, like, it was just, and it was a moment for me of being like, oh, this is exactly that feeling.
That, maybe they had you confused with a boomer. Although I have to say, I'm a boomer, and the boomers are more adaptable than you might think.
Absolutely. And that was actually what I was going to say after what Cyd said, was that we have to give people the chance to just change with the system. Like, if you say, hey, we no longer do this, we do this, don't assume that because of someone's age or gender or race or anything that they can't do something. Like, it's kind of like when I hear, oh, we don't believe in gendered pricing, which is a whole other topic. And the biggest thing we hear from that is, well, what about my male clients? As if they'll never pay, they're only all going to pay a lower amount than women for the rest of their lives. And our response to that is, give male clients the chance to step up and say, you know what, it isn't right to charge genders different amounts. It's discrimination. But to say they won't do it and then to not hold them accountable to it
is part of the problem.
Is part of the problem. So
You're
I think
right.
giving people chances to come to the table and change, and they may struggle with it for a moment, but if you know how
Everything
to,
worth doing is painful.
Yeah.
Every change is going to have its discomfort in the process. We just have to work through that to get to the other side of it, which is going to be fulfillment. We tell our students this all the time. It's like, you can have a 30-second comfortable conversation, but then have long-term pain and suffering because you never raised your prices. Or you can have a 30-second confrontation of, I'm raising my prices and this is how my business is going, and that's it, and have long-term fulfillment. And I think we have to switch how, there's no such thing as good and bad. Sometimes doing something to upset someone is going to create a better opportunity for a lot of other people.
Well, I got to tell you, I mean, I could talk to the two of you all day, and because there's so much alignment in my thinking and yours, and it's just it's so refreshing, and it makes me very hopeful.
oh, good. That's nice to hear.
It really does. And so I just, thank you so much for giving
course.
us your time. And the other thing that a lot of the audience, what I've just not like it was a discovery with all these different platforms, whether it's Clubhouse or Instagram, Facebook, whatever it is, podcasts. It's really a thing where our primary audience, serious business, has a very neutral audience for the most part, but a lot of our audience, they are salon owners, and a lot of them are commission salons, and I'm really grateful for them to hear what you're sharing today. I mean, I think it really makes.
We can help. Yeah, we can help salon owners that are commission salon owners. Salon
commission
differently.
salon owners are all, there's been a lot of fear over the last several years about losing people to booth rental. And so I think that your message and your ideas are worth listening to and exploring. So
thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
We hope to talk to you again. Maybe we'll have you on our podcast and we can continue the conversation.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Cyd. Thank you, David.
Thank you.